Hi my little ghosts, welcome or welcome back to the channel. And today's readings, as you can tell from the title, is all about what you need to know right now. The messages are going to be really varied. They are really gonna depend on whatever it is, you need details about what area, what aspect of your life. So as you can see, we have 3 piles to choose from. We have pile 1 here. I actually don't remember the names of the tarot. I think this is the Lumina tarot. I'll put everything in the description anyways. I think this is the Luna edition of the Ethereal Visions tarot and the Cosmic Coven, if I'm not mistaken, but you'll find them in the description. So feel free to choose intuitively. Just whichever pile draws your attention first is usually the one you're going to resonate with. However, you can resonate with more than once for this specific reading. There might be more information that Spirit is trying to get through to you. So feel free to check out all of them if you feel like it. And if you pick one pile and you feel like you don't resonate with the message, feel free to try another one. And if you really don't resonate with any of them, there might simply not be a message for you here at this time. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'm actually too lazy to cut the video because my video processing takes hours and I don't have the patience for that. So I'm just gonna do, oh well, let me get a tissue. I was cleaning my makeup brushes last night and I think some of the crayon might have ended up on the desk. But we're not going to let this deter us from the reading. Might be a sign though. I don't know what of, but maybe you need to dust your desk or something. So anyways, let us prepare for pile 1. So Hunter pile 1, welcome to your reading. Thank you for being here. So if you guys chose this first tarot deck, and ignore the line on my desk, if you will. There, almost gone. Then this is going to be a reading on what you need to know right now, and we are going to take a look at the tarot. I'm going to shuffle your deck first, and we are going to get some tarot cards, and I am setting the intention that the cards that turn up upright are the things that you are doing right, and those are the things that align with you at this time, and they're gonna bring you the most help and put you on your path. And the cards that turn up reversed are going to be things that the universe is trying to get your attention about. Areas of life, I'm burping, sorry about that. Areas of life where Spirit is trying to tell you that there is an imbalance, or perhaps you need to change something. And as I say that, we have the Tower. Lovely. Anyways, doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna pop up for you, and even if it does, it's not the end of the world. So let's see, Spirit, what does pile 1 need to know right now? What does pile 1 need to know right now? I absolutely love this deck. I've been wanting it for years, and I'm really glad I finally got it. So we have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. We have the 7 of Wands reversed. What else, Spirit? We have Strength. That's funny, because one of the oracle cards for one of the piles is actually Strength. So yeah. What else? Maybe you want to watch one of the other 2 piles. What else, Spirit? Okay, so we have Death. We have the 4 of Wands, both in reverse. Last but not least, we have the 9 of Wands, and I have seen this in the deck while shuffling. So the bottom of the deck energy is the Knight of Wands upright. And let me just make sure everything's in frame. Okay, we're good. All right, pile 1. I want to start with the reverse cards and get that out of the way. So I do believe that you have potentially been stagnant for a while now. Perhaps you have been afraid to take action in certain areas of your life. I do believe that there is some sort of change that is waiting to be created, especially when it comes to things that you have wanted to change about your finances or your health or your work. It could also be about your house or your responsibilities. And it could definitely have to do with creating a new routine for yourself or bettering your routine in some way. For some of you, I feel like it's time for you to embrace perhaps moving your body more, if that has been on your to-do list, just to get more movement in. Doesn't matter if it's jogging or doing yoga or joining a gym or something like that. It seems like getting some movement is ideal at this point in your life. And I do feel like there is a little bit of hesitancy when it comes to making this change. I can't tell you exactly why, because it's gonna be different, but I feel like there could be a hint of perfectionism attached. So it's like, oh, if I can't do this routine this exact way, then I'm gonna give up. Or if I have a sweet treat, then that means I've ruined my whole diet and my whole effort, and I'm just gonna binge for the next week or something like that. And I feel like Spirit is saying that this transformation does not need to happen overnight, and you don't need to strive for perfection. It's all about taking baby steps. It's all about putting in a little bit of work today and a little bit of work tomorrow. And if there's multiple things you want to change about your routine, I do feel like Spirit is saying you're not going to be able to implement them all at once. But what you can do is try to implement a little bit of this today, perhaps a little bit of that, not tomorrow, but next week. You know, just kind of try to implement them and pace yourself while you do so. So say you want to eat better, give yourself at least, I would say, at least a couple of weeks to start eating better and planning meals and seeing how your body adapts to that, and if you can actually do that without compromising your mental health. And then when you kind of feel like you got a grasp of a good eating pattern, right, and the foods and everything, you know, that brings you all the nutrients and all that is set in place, then you can implement, okay, let's add some physical activity. Let's start with like light jogging for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, or let's start with doing some calisthenics, or I don't know, 5 minutes of yoga or something like that. Just start small, because it's going to be easier for you to build up to something more if you start with small steps than if you start with the expectation that it's gonna be big and bold and it's gonna be perfect, and I'm gonna do 5 sets of this exercise and 10 sets of that and 100 million reps of this exercise. Your body's not ready for that, and you might even shock yourself. And I feel like there's real danger here of even injuring yourself if you start that big and that quickly. So give yourself time and pace yourself when it comes to these changes you want to implement, all right? Now, let's talk about the Seven of Wands and the Four of Wands that clarifies it. So I feel like people are putting you down, or you feel put down by people even if they don't necessarily say so. I feel like you don't feel celebrated and you don't feel seen. I also feel like there is something here about you feeling like people don't necessarily encourage you, or they don't celebrate your wins. They don't share the same excitement when you achieve something that you've had your eye on for a little bit. And I do feel like it's hard for you to stand up for yourself and tell them, hey, I was expecting something more here. I was expecting you to actually be happy for me. Like, this means a lot to me. And I don't feel like this is coming from a place of malice. I feel like because you keep yourself small and you play it small, and you're like, oh, it's, you know, it's really not a big deal. And you might even be turning down compliments like this, like, wow, that's amazing that you actually managed to do that by yourself. That's amazing that you had this achievement. I do feel like it's like, no, it wasn't a big deal. Or someone compliments your top or your pants or your skirt or something, and they're like, wow, that looks really good on you. And I was like, oh no, it was cheap, it was thrifted, or it was like $2 from Shein or something like that. It's like, don't downplay it. It's still beautiful, you know, and you still put effort into it, and you have the vision for it, and other people might not be able to style it like you do. So if you've been making yourself small, I feel like this is a sign for you to start accepting praise and compliments, and even not necessarily demanding them, because I don't feel like this is about demanding it, but rather accepting it, right? So let's move on to the strength and the Nine of Wands reversed here, to clarify it. I actually really love the pinks in this, the pinks and the reds, but I do feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it's making you want to give up. And what exactly that is, I cannot necessarily tell you, because like I said, it's gonna be different for each and every one of you. But I do feel like you're tired of persevering, but the difference here is, I do feel like you're trying to overburden yourself, or give yourself a lot of tasks, or really high achievements and really high goals and objectives, and you feel like, oh, if I can do that, if I can accomplish that, then it means that I can accomplish anything. Then it means that I can have confidence, and I can have, you know, good self-esteem. Then it means I'm a capable adult, because I feel like this has something to do with you feeling like a capable adult and feeling like you're a grown-up. I also feel like this is a lot about, for those of you who feel really independent, those of you who hate asking for help, I feel like you're really trying to build this up for yourself. Your what is that called? It's something with an A. Why am I assertivity, there you go. I feel like you're really trying to build your assertivity. I think that's the word. Assertivity, one of these. Anyways, English is not my first language. But I feel like you're doing it in such a way that you're expecting too much of yourself. So even the adult, you know that sound that goes like, I need an adult. I am an adult. I need an adult, you're adult. I feel like that's you. And I want to say that even the adultier adults would not be able to cope with as much shit as you're putting on your plate. So even if you're not an adultier adult, even they couldn't handle as much as you try to make yourself carry. So I feel like toning it down a little and putting some of the weight down, the spirit saying that that is not going to make you weak. And I actually heard worse word than that. I heard it's not gonna make you a PUSSY. Okay, it's not gonna make you that. It's not gonna mean you're weak. It's not gonna mean you're a failure. It's gonna mean that you bit off more than you could chew, and next time you're gonna learn how much you can actually bite off and chew it thoroughly. And yeah. Your bottom of the deck energy is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is talking about building passion, building up energy, and building up stamina. So I feel like if you've been in a phase of life where things were kind of slow, in a phase of life where things were not exactly picking up, and you felt stagnant, and you felt bored, and you felt like just life wasn't lifing, and you didn't exactly feel involved with life, you didn't feel like you were actually truly living, I do feel like that's coming to an end. And that's why spirit is telling you, pace yourself. There's a real danger here of you pushing your limits, and especially with this tendency of yours to bite off more than you can chew, and the fact that you don't accept help, though you should. And you should be okay with at least not help necessarily for now, but at least accept praise and realize that what you're doing is really, really huge. It's really significant. Okay, so like I said, pace yourself, try not to hurt yourself, because there's a real possibility for that to happen. And without further ado, we're gonna move into your oracles. So to start, we have the Moon. We have number 63, big mixed barrel of emotions. And finally, we have number 15 with migration, initiation, adventure, and freedom. I actually love this. I actually really, really love this. Okay. How many of you are Capricorns or have like a Capricorn moon rising or like a Capricorn Mars more specifically? By the way, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so yeah. I want to say many of you seem to have difficulty processing your emotions. Many of you are trying to run away from your emotions, or you're trying to work in order to avoid those difficult feelings. And I feel like Spirit is saying, you know, this too shall pass. First of all, this was an episode. Yes, it was very emotionally charged. Yes, it was really frustrating. It might have coincided. This is a timeless reading, but if you're watching it around April 2025 or May, or even, you know, this period, I want to say that not too long ago we have had a full, I don't know, 3 or 4 months of Mars, first of all, being in retrograde and then going direct, but going direct in the sign of Cancer, which Mars is not really keen on, you know, that domicile. So that basically translates into frustrations and not getting much done, being really emotionally charged, and just having to deal with a lot of crap where the only thing you could cultivate is your inner strength, because you couldn't actually combat or face you know, the issues like full on and actually tackle them. It's more of the thing of you need to have patience through this period of time, and have patience with yourself, please, because this was not your fault. A lot of people have been going through this frustrating period where nothing seemed to work out in their way, and Mars has just finally moved on into the sign of Leo, which, by the way, you could have Leo placements with strength here. But yeah, it's only now that things are actually gonna be set in motion. But the fact that we're moving on from a stagnant energy to a fully fiery, daring, courageous, brave, outstanding energy, that could create, you know, some tension, some friction, some, for those of you, for example, if you have Leo in the first house, or in the sixth house, there's a real danger of you hurting yourself, harming yourself physically. And for those of you who know that, once again, you're biting off more than you can chew, there's a real danger of you burning yourself out before you even start, okay? So be careful with over, you know, judging yourself too harshly, and just know that this last period that has passed has been really, really frustrating. It's about to end, or it's ending right now. And the universe is reassuring you that the best thing you can do is not fight through the feelings, not work through the feelings, not eat your feelings out or eat your feelings away. I don't think that's the way you say it. I don't think that's the idiom. Once again, English is not my first language. But Spirit is basically telling you that the only thing you need to do is sit with these emotions, validate them for yourself, cry in a pillow if you need to, scream in a pillow if you need to, just let all the rage out because it's justified. And you're not a failure if you feel like this. You did not, how do I say this? You're not any weaker, and you're not any, you know, less valuable than anyone else because you feel this way. And I guarantee more people than you think are feeling this way too. They're just not letting it, you know, be seen. So finally, let's talk about this migration card here, which once again talks about the end of a cycle and re-entering into a different one. Migration, basically, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, migration happens when a certain species, or yeah, I guess a certain species, moves from one place to another. So this is a time for you of movement, of departing and saying goodbye to what no longer serves you, to what's become stale and stagnant, to what's become I don't know, to what has become barren and what has dried up, and you know what's not helping you anymore. You have gotten all the benefits of this period of time, and now it's time to move on. And Spirit is confirming that this is gonna feel like a breath of fresh air, you know. And we have adventure and freedom, so you're gonna be pretty much like, you know, when you let a dog out of their leash, that the first thing they do is just like run around and be stupid and just, you know, erratic. So be careful, because like I said, there's a tendency for you to overdo it and to be overly excited by this freedom. However, I do want to add that if you don't process your emotions first, you might suffer from outbursts, and you might act based on these emotions, with the moon and big barrel of emotions here translating it. You might act under these emotions and do something that you didn't necessarily want to do, or you didn't plan it out that way. So feel your emotions first, give yourself some time to breathe, and then strategically start implementing the changes that you want to implement. So pile 1, this is pretty much where I'm going to leave this reading. If you liked this video, then I would really appreciate if you could actually physically like it, and if you could subscribe to the channel, because I am going to post a lot more frequently, at least 2-3 times a week now. And yeah, I do actually offer personal readings. You can find them on my Instagram. I have them pinned at the top of my profile, and my Instagram is Phantom Tarot. You can follow me on TikTok at the Phantom Tarot if you want to see more content, astrology and tarot related. And I think that's it. So I'll see you next time, and I'm going to put your cards away, and I'm gonna start pile 2's reading, because like I said, I am way too freaking lazy to actually cut these videos anymore. So yeah, you're gonna see all the raw in between whatevers. So yeah, oops, there, see, even that's gonna be on the video, whatever at this point. But yeah, setting this right up. And hi there, pile 2, welcome to your reading, thank you for being here. And if you chose this tarot deck, then this is going to be a reading on what you need to know right now, what the universe wants you to know, wants to bring to your awareness. So we are actually going to start with the tarot, and we are going to conclude with your oracles. So let's see. Spirit, what do you want pile 2 to know? What do you want them to know? What is it that they need to become aware of, unless they already are aware of and you're just underlining a point? What do you want pile 2 to know? Okay, fine. So from the get-go, we have the Four of Swords upright, the Queen of Cups reversed, and the King of Cups reversed. And let's translate and clarify these. And we have the Nine of Wands. Okay, we have the Nine of Cups reversed. And finally, well, I guess I'm gonna take this both. We have the Five of Cups reversed, the High Priestess, and the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Swords. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to... No, I can. There we go. There we go. Fixed it right up for you. So, let's see. Pile 2. What's going on in your life? What's the business? So, I want to say, first of all, clearly there is a lot of involvement when it comes to your objectives, your passions, your goals, okay? You're really focused. I feel like you have achieved something significant recently, or you're about to achieve something really significant in the very, very near future. Now, the Four of Wands can be anything you have set up your mind to do. It can be like the first win when you start a new project, the first win after you start a new objective. But more specifically, it could be something about moving into a new house, getting a new house, switching houses, moving out of your parents' house, getting your own domain, even online, like getting your own domain, setting up a website. It could be planting your own garden, or it could even be getting engaged, or celebrating a win in your romantic life, whatever goal it is that you have been setting up for yourself. It seems like you are going to, or you have achieved that flawlessly. Okay, there's a blessing here, there's a party going on, or a celebration of sorts, a family reunion, something of that nature. Now with this Nine of Wands, clarifying it, I do feel like you have been really, 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 how do I put this into English? You have been really sticking with this ideal, with this objective for a while. You have persevered, you have endured, you have had sleepless nights, and possibly fought off some people who are like naysayers and discouraging. You've been going through it to achieve this, and now that it's finally here, why do I feel like you're not enjoying it fully? Why do I feel like there's disappointment in you? Because the bottom of the deck energy is the Ten of Swords, and I've been doing this, so I do feel like there's some sort of anxiety or angst or frustration, tension inside of some of you. The Ten of Swords here, to me, this means that you've been judging yourself really harsh. You've been overly critical. You might have been dealing with some Virgo energies, and Virgo energy tries to always be prepared and be at its best and on its best behavior. However, it does tend to drain one, especially because they're ruled by Mercury, and we have swords here which rule the air energy, so they're very Mercury related. So I do feel like there's mental exhaustion at play at the least. For some of you, there might even be physical exhaustion, overexertion, and I do feel like this period of time has drained you, just overall drained you. Okay, you're asking so much of yourself, and because you haven't done it to perfection, in your opinion, in your mind, there's this kind of disappointment, possibly even with a hint of regret here in the Five of Cups. Some of you might want to go back on this decision to acquire this specific objective. Some of you might feel like it's not what you really wanted. It's almost like you thought it was gonna make you happy, but it didn't. It's almost like someone else told you that XYZ was gonna make you happy. This could also be a baptism, by the way, or like a baby shower or something. I just got that, just putting that out there as another option. This seems to be something that did not fulfill you, something you regret, but that you can't go back on, or you won't go back on. And I do feel like intuitively you kind of knew that it wasn't for you, but you thought that, you know what, I don't know, I might be crazy, I'm just gonna listen to everyone else. And I want to say there's difficulties that you're dealing with right now when it comes to your emotional intelligence and processing some states, some feelings, some emotions, because we have both the Queen and the King of Cups here. There might be issues with your parents. There might be like a misunderstanding. It's almost like you want to make your parents proud, or you want to make someone older than you that you respect and love, you want to make them proud, you want to make them happy, and I feel like they are happy, but the cost is your own happiness here. And I feel like you are holding this to yourself. You're keeping this to yourself. You're not telling anybody. You're trying to put on a mask and appear to be okay with everything that's going on, but you're not truly happy inside. You're concealing something, right? And I do feel with this Queen and King here that you need to give yourself more compassion. You need to give yourself more empathy. You need to put yourself first, because you can't serve others from an empty cup. And even if you do, you're gonna begin building up resentment. And I don't think you're at that stage yet, or I don't necessarily think you're gonna get to that stage. But if you keep doing this to yourself, where you try to satisfy others, or you live life based on what would make others happy, then that is going to really affect your relationship with them eventually. I also want to underline here, I'm so sorry about, by the way, I'm really sorry about the noise outside. Someone's doing their yard, and yeah, all my windows are closed, but it's still really loud and annoying. So I'm sorry about that. I want to say, um, with this King of Cups, it's almost like, for some of you, I want to say, you could be Libras or have really prominent Libra placements like Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, I would also add. Or you could have potent Pisces placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, possibly Mars. Because I feel like it's hard for you to exert yourself, and it's almost like it's hard for you to follow your own desires. It's like you work off of other people's desires, other people's emotions, and what would make other people happy, which it really conflicts you when something makes someone else happy, but oh, why doesn't he make me happy? Like, I'm happy they're happy, but why am I not happy with my own decision? So yeah, I feel like a period of introspection will follow for you, where you're really gonna consider how you feel, how you are affected, and the feelings that you even hide from yourself. I feel like this is also a time where you can meditate on and really understand the motivations between the motivations what's the word, behind, there you go, the motivations behind the things that you're doing, the things you're pursuing, the things you're following. And there could be a little bit of an awakening, if not like a full awakening, at least getting the gist of why you're doing what you're doing, and how you can be more true to yourself. There might be some subconscious patterns that come to surface, and you get a glimpse of that. There might be some therapy involved, and I feel like it's more so somatic therapy, it's not cognitive behavioral therapy. You get to work with your feelings more than rationalizing what's going on, because even if you rationalize something, it doesn't mean that you've processed it, unless you have, ingrained it in your body, and there's no way to do that unless you actually confront the feelings. That's how the body understands the world, through feelings. So let's see what your oracles have to say. I'm really curious. So we have the Mother. I like that one. Throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks. If nothing sticks, hang out in the pile. Oh my god, and I have mentioned children, and I have mentioned like a baptism, possibly. So if... okay, alright. We have prudence, self-assurance, integrity, clear-mindedness. And this reminds me of Libra, because we have the scales or the justice card here. And the numbers, if they're significant for you, we have 30, which reduces to a 3 in numerology. We have 43, which reduces to a 7 in numerology. And we have the Mother, which is number 17, and 17 can reduce to an 8. 8 is also the number of transformation. 3 is creativity, and 7 is like a really spiritual number. Okay, I don't know how to describe it otherwise. So my knowledge of numerology is not perfect by any means. I'm more into tarot and astrology. Numerology is kind of last. Anyways, oh my goodness. The Mother card literally talks about everything that we have discussed, okay? The Mother card is asking you to figure out, how have you been nurturing others, but how do you lack the just basically, how are you nurturing others and how are you not nurturing yourself? It's like you've been giving other people the time of day, and you've been making sure that they're nice and cozy, but you haven't been doing that for yourself. You might have been neglecting yourself, neglecting what makes you feel good, neglecting giving yourself a break, neglecting taking time off, taking a vacation, buying something nice for yourself, treating yourself, eating good. You might be, eating scraps or leftovers while everyone else is feasting. just be sure to put yourself first for a little bit, at least for a little bit, at least enough for you to recharge. You're drained, you're done, you're kaput, you're gata. That's how we say it in Romanian. You're gata, ești gata. So yeah, be really careful about giving yourself the time of day and prioritizing yourself, at least for a little bit. Now let's move on to throw stuff at the wall. This card specifically talks about, like I said, meditating about the past, considering what you've been doing, and so does justice, by the way, which this reminds me of. They're all about considering and seeing the patterns of your behavior from the past and seeing what it is that's not working for you so that you don't repeat that in the future. If you keep doing something and you don't get to the result that you desire, look towards the past and see what sort of pattern have you been following or implementing when it comes to people, when it comes to relationships. What kind of people have you been choosing? Who are you hanging out around? Do they take care of themselves, or do they also sacrifice themselves until the very end? Are they happy? Are they miserable? Are they putting on a mask? Do you want to follow in their steps? Are you seeing yourself happy now? Do you want to keep doing this for the rest of your life? No? Okay, time to make a change. But this is mostly like a time of introspection and you understanding yourself, and you first of all becoming aware of these patterns. This is not a period of action for you. The only action you're supposed to take is by nurturing yourself. Otherwise it's inaction, it's meditation, it's understanding, it's contemplating, it's staying with your feelings, okay? So this card also encourages you to look at memories from the past, pictures, texts, messages, letters, videos, posts, anything from the past. Okay. Then we have prudence, self-assurance, integrity, and clear-mindedness. And this card to me is all about tapping into your divine feminine, because 3 is also the number of the Empress, right? The Empress is the archetype of the feminine, the archetype of the mother, the nurturer, the one that takes care of something or someone. And now it's time for you to take care of yourself, self-assurance, okay? It's time for you to take care of your integrity, because your integrity is not only mental and like following into what you say you would do. It's also that integrity towards yourself, okay? Respect and building trust in yourself, because you follow through with what you said you would do. Oh, I promised myself I would wash my hair. I promised myself I would brush my teeth. I promised myself I would eat a nutritious meal. You know, you need to follow through with these things, because it helps you, first of all, nurture yourself, and it helps you feel safe, and it sets a base for you to be stable and grounded when you say no to people. Why do you say no? Because you love yourself. And how do you know you love yourself? Because you take care of yourself. You take care of your needs. You don't let yourself go to waste. You don't put yourself last, and you're not supposed to. And we have clear-mindedness. So once again, realizing these unconscious patterns that you've been functioning on in order to make better choices in the future for yourself. Better for yourself, first of all. So pile 2, this is where I'm going to leave your reading. I really hope you resonated, and I hope that you found the answers that you were looking for, that you got some clarity. And I do hope you don't feel like I was scolding you or anything, because that's not what I'm trying to do, although sometimes I might be too passionate when I'm reading and it comes out like that. I understand. Make sure you like this video if it was helpful in any way, shape, or form. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. I'm probably gonna start uploading 2 or 3 times a week, so it's gonna be more often than it was before. And God, that's annoying. And yeah, if you want to find me on social media, I do offer personal readings, so you can find my price list on my Instagram. It's pinned at the top of my profile. My Instagram is at Phantom Tarot. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, I also post astrology and tarot related content. You can find me at the Phantom Tarot. I think that's it, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye bye. So now it's time to put all this away and start reading for pile 3. And usually I take breaks in between readings, but this is not a really long type of reading, so I don't actually feel the need to take a break. And I also don't want to pause the video, like I said, because it takes a really long time for it to process on my laptop, which is not really state of the art when I'm putting together all the readings separately. So, pile 3, where are you? There you are. Alright. So, hi there, pile 3, and welcome to your reading. Thank you for being here, and this is what you need to know right now, what the universe wishes to get your attention about. So, the way we're gonna go about this is we're first gonna get your tarot cards, and then we are going to bring in your oracles towards the end. So, let's see. Oh my god, these cards are thick. I forgot how much it hurts to shuffle them. So I love thicker cards, and this is like a linen sort of cardstock. I love them, they're sturdy, but they are really hard to shuffle. Mama, what am I gonna do with you? This is a beautiful deck. Oh, there's the Empress. Hi. Hello, Mother. You have come to greet us. Alright, so let's see, Spirit. What does pile 3 need to know right now? Just making sure everything's in frame. Okay, which way do you want to fall? Alright. Queen of Cups, are you sure? I'm gonna do that again. Okay, so it's upright. Queen of Cups upright. Is that a mermaid? That's so cute. I am obsessed with mermaids. Ever since H2O came out, I've been obsessed with mermaids. I'm gonna reshuffle these. But yeah. We have the 3 of Swords, the 7 of Wands reversed. And now to clarify, we have the Knight of Cups upright. And we have the 8, oh, an 8 clarifying an 8. The 8 of Swords, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually, upright. Her hair is all over the place. And we have the Knight of Wands reversed. And the bottom of the deck is the 10 of Cups. So, oh, don't do that to me. Okay, fine, I'll set you on this side. You like it better on that side, I know. Let me make sure everything's in the frame. There we go. So, really sorry about the person cutting the grass and they just stopped. Hopefully they finished. But yeah. Pile 3. What is it that you need to know right now? Okay. So, I actually want to start with this middle column here. And why is that? Well, because it makes a lot of sense to me, because you have the 8 of Wands clarified by the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Wands is all about taking action, right? Taking action impetuously, on the spot, possibly even impulsively. But the 8 of Swords, right underneath it, speaks about a different story. That is blockages in taking action, blockages in following your passions because of some mental blockages that you have, that you're dealing with. You're basically holding yourself, putting yourself down and holding yourself back from doing the things you want to pursue. And I do feel like there is a lot here. There is a lot here that you're passionate about. There is a lot here that you would like to pursue. There is a lot here that you would like to... Let me make sure that my window's closed because this is really loud and it's really deterring me from reading. That's weird because it is closed, but oh well, we're just gonna have to bear through it. So moving on. Yeah, so there's mental blockages that are holding you back from following the things that you want to pursue. There might even be, and this is more specific, some mental blocks that are stopping you from pursuing pleasure, from sensuality, passion when it comes to sensuality. For some of you, this may translate into like an overactive brain when you're trying to enjoy yourself with your partner. This can translate into you thinking that you are not appropriate enough to finish a task. This can mean you not, for example, following a dream because you think you don't look good enough, or you're not good enough in some sort of way or aspect. You're holding yourself prisoner with these thoughts that, guess what, they're not even yours. They're someone else's. They're someone else's limiting beliefs that have been set into your brain because you've been hanging out with the wrong people. And sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes these people happen to be our closest friends and family, and these limiting beliefs are either ingrained into us because they think that they will protect us this way, or because they truly don't believe in us, or just, well, sometimes it can be malicious, sometimes it can be out of envy, out of spite, but we're not gonna talk about that. So let's put it together with the rest. First of all, like I said, you might have to deal with these limiting beliefs. Realize that they're not yours. These voices, there was a video, I think from Gary V a few years back when I was following him, I was watching him, where he said that the voices in your head aren't even yours. The voices in your head are your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend, your lover. It's just the people who have been criticizing you and who have been stopping you because they truly believe in their own limiting beliefs. And so because they really believe those things, they're gonna try to teach them to you, but they're basically cutting your wings. And we have this dragonfly here too. So yeah, you might feel like you can't fly, but baby, you can. The universe is here to tell you, you absolutely can. The only thing that's stopping you from taking off right now is these limiting beliefs. That's it. That's all. Let's move on, and I want to actually move on to the Three of Swords and the Knight of Wands reversed. I feel like there's grief. Oh goodness, and I feel like you actually are realizing that the people, like I said, that have taught you these things, that you've put your trust into, they weren't gods, they weren't right, they didn't hold the absolute truth. There's grief and there's sorrow and there's regret, but at the same time it's like you didn't have a choice. I mean, you did, but in reality you really didn't. It was either listening to these people who were basically teaching you about life when no one else was there to teach you about life because you were a kid. You didn't know any better. You did this because you didn't know any better. And there might be some sort of regret because your soul, your intuition might have been telling you otherwise this whole time, and these words that have been ingrained into you might not have resonated with you from day one. It's like there was something bigger, like a flame in you, like a passion in you that was burning bright, and they've put it out. And I love how we actually do have a flame here with this Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands is a fire element. And this Three of Swords usually doesn't it doesn't showcase rain, but in this case it does. So they're raining, they've rained on your parade, and I do feel like Spirit is saying yes, they have, but at the same time you had to see this side of the spectrum too, this side of the blade too, because at some point in your life, if you were to fulfill or to follow through with some of your objectives, passions, hobbies, interests, and you were to fail, then you would have internalized that the only good way, the only safe way is the limiting way, and you would have never pursued anything ever again. But now, because you have seen this side first of the limiting beliefs and of what you know, playing it safe and playing it small, and you see that it's not working out for you, and you still have this urge to follow with your passions, then this is going to actually empower you, and it's going to make you even more boldly, courageously involved in following them, because you've seen the other side, so you have nothing to lose, right? And I feel like because of this, you can't resent or you don't hate these people. If anything, it brings you closer to them, because we have the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Cups also talks about you finally feeling fulfilled, finally feeling like you have a purpose, like you have it figured out, finally feeling like you made contact with the universe, like you made contact with God, like you're following true to your destiny, like you're living true to yourself. It's almost like you've found what you want to be doing for the rest of your life, and even if in the beginning it doesn't yield the results that you are looking forward to, because you're doing the work that you enjoy, it's like, well, even if I were to do it the safe way, I wouldn't be happy. Yeah, maybe I would have the material gains, but I wouldn't be happy. So what's the point of doing this for an entire lifetime if I'm not happy? Now I'm happy, I might not have the material gains yet, but I don't really care, because there's nothing else I would rather put my time and my energy into, with or without money. And I feel like, well, if it's a matter of having or not having money, that I do not know, because there's literally no pentacles here, and I feel like the money is really not a thing you're thinking about right now. And if it is, maybe this isn't the reading for you. But I feel like your focus isn't the material gains. It's feeling and finding that idea that you're working for something bigger than yourself, and you love doing it. And speaking of, we're finally going to talk about the first two cards, the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups, clarifying it. I do feel like the Queen of Cups is you realizing how to protect yourself, how to create emotional boundaries, and how to not internalize the critique or the thoughts and feelings of other people, how to not cater to everyone else, and you're learning how to become integral. Perhaps some of you are even doing some somatic healing, or you're trying to heal your nervous system, and I love that for you, because the Knight of Cups does talk about movement and change and a transfer when it comes to your emotional well-being. And I do feel like you're working on improving this about yourself. So let's move on finally and talk about your oracles. And to start, we have Strength. There's been another reading where we had Strength come up as a tarot card, so if you want to check one of the other ones out, feel free. We have Take a Break from Small Hell You've Designed for Yourself. And finally, we have the Key, Inner Calling, Clarity, and Intention. And I have cut the deck at the High Priestess earlier, but yeah. So Strength here talks about you, like I said, being brave and being courageous in pursuing what it is you want to pursue, in spite of all the external obstacles, and even more so the internal obstacles, the limiting beliefs, the things that have been ingrained in you, the fear, your natural body's reaction to novelty, your natural aversity to novelty. The brain, the body does not feel safe in new environments, trying out new things, because they're unfamiliar, they're not safe, and they require more energy, so they're more tiring. So it's okay to feel like it's not easy to pursue these things, but you're doing it anyways. Congratulations to you. I'm sorry for swearing, YouTube. Please don't censor me or whatever, because I'm not monetized yet. So anyways, moving on, we're gonna talk about Take a Break. And I love how it's not take a break, it's like take break from small hell you've designed for yourself. So first of all, we have number 7, which is a really spiritual number. We have number 30, which reduces to a 3 in numerology, which is the Empress. And excuse me about that. We have 26, which reduces to an 8. Obviously, if these numbers resonate as certain dates or certain, I don't know, personal signs for you, then take them as they do resonate. But take break from small hell you've designed for yourself. I do feel like this can talk about, this is basically like pain is necessary but suffering is optional, or something like that, because everyone goes through shit, everyone has you know, trauma, everyone has their own personal hell that they're going through. However, the fact that we're ruminating, the fact that we stay stuck, the fact that we repeat the story, the fact that we create limits and limiting beliefs about ourselves, because we've been through those negative experiences, it's what creates our own personal hell. And this is your sign to reconnect, first of all, with the universe and realize that everything here is temporary, everything here is, you know, kind of like a simulation. Like, I know pain is really real, but you don't have to feel it for more than you do. So for example, let's say, I'm gonna give a fucked up example, but it's the first one that came to mind. So let's say someone's been in an accident, right? The fact that they keep rememorizing that accident is a choice, okay? Like, you can choose to make peace with it and move on and not harp on to something that's happened to you. This is basically like, yeah, I've been in that, but that doesn't mean I have to keep hurting myself over and over and over again, thinking that it might happen again. This can also mean that you are dealing with some post-traumatic stress. It can mean that you're dealing with anxiety, and this is either a call for you to go and get interested in some therapy or some self-help books or some self-help resources, because I know therapy isn't exactly cheap, and I am aware that in the States where I recently moved, you know, health insurance is not exactly the best, and yeah, doesn't necessarily cover everything. So I want to actually get the guidebook and read the guidebook for this one too. So let's see, number 30. All right. So pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Why do you insist on suffering? Try joy for at least a little bit. You never know, it might just suit you. And with this Eight of Swords here, I do feel like perhaps there is a pattern in your family or a pattern among the people that you live with to complain and to suffer. And it's like, if you don't suffer and if you don't prove that you've suffered more than someone else, you're not worthy of respect, of gains, of abundance, of anything. It's like you're worthless unless you suffer. And everyone's kind of having this pity party contest where it's like, who's suffering the most? Be the one who breaks the chains. Be the happy one. Be the one that's always finding joy in little things, that's enchanted and excited about life, excited about the little things, you know? Fight back, be rebellious. Be rebellious by breaking free from all the complaining and the nagging and the suffering and the whatever, wallowing in it, you know? It's like, yeah, we've all suffered, but you don't have to keep saying that and keep repeating that. Like, okay, we get it, you've suffered, good for you, what do you want me to do, build your statue? Everyone's suffering, but that doesn't mean that has to be your whole person. Don't make suffering your whole personality. It's not cute, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what you can say to those people. I'm sorry that your whole personality is based on the trauma that happened to you that you had no fucking control over. Okay, complex. Go to therapy, find a hobby, jeez. Anyways, let's move on to the final card, which is the key, inner calling, clarity, intention. So like I've said, this is you being called to live intentionally, not to work on subconscious patterns that have been ingrained in you, that don't represent you any further. Clarity is realizing why you're doing what you're doing, and if you want to keep doing what you're doing, that's intention. And inner calling, if there's something you want to follow, especially these passions that are calling to you, don't ignore them. This is the perfect time for you to actually set those in motion. But Pile 3, this is where I'm going to leave your reading. I really hope you resonated, and if you did and you enjoyed watching this little video, then I would really appreciate if you could like it, if you could subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications to be notified when I upload a new reading. I'm gonna be posting 2-3 times a week at the least, and I do offer personal readings. You can find them on my Instagram. Pinned at the top of my profile is my price list as well. My Instagram is Phantom Tarot, and my TikTok, where I post astrology and tarot related stuff, is at The Phantom Tarot. So without further ado, I wish you a good day or rest of the day ahead or night or whatever it is when you're watching this, and I hopefully will see you soon. Bye bye.